Yeah. We live, baby. From the block to the blessing. It's hacks. Hoodies and handshakes. Let's go. Hash low, hoodies up, handshake firm. Lost for a minute, but the boys still learn. Covered by the grace from the wheel got cold. Now I walk real light cause my soul been told. Hash low, hoodies up, faith don't break. Every step back turned in heaven's handshake.
What's good? What's good, my people? It's your boy Aaron back again. This is Heavy Love presents hats, hoodies, and handshakes, and let's get it. So today it's been a few weeks since I've been before you, and I know my last episode was a tough one for me because I've been struggling kind of mentally with my mental health, but I can report and say that I am seeing my therapist. I'm feeling better altogether, and I'm looking forward to what tomorrow has to bring. So let's just jump into something to me that feels super close to my heart, and it kind of feels like one of those things that needs to be said. Because so I want to talk to the people that feels like they're kind of behind in life. You know, life is always lifing. It's moving, it's grooving, and it don't stop for no man or no woman. And so to the people who feel disqualified, the people who feel embarrassed about where you're started, and the people who think that one bad decision means the rest of your life is already written, listen, I'm here to tell you that that is just not true. And I shouldn't even be sitting here before you right now. And that's a fact. See, I went to prison when I was 18. And so I went to prison while I was still in high school. And as I look back on, like, even the moments that happened before and during, I always feel like I've been blessed. Like, God has been tremendously in my corner, in my path. And I've done some things that were totally opposite of what I knew to be true. And even before I went to jail that ultimately led me going to prison, there were signs that God was showing me that you got so much more ahead of you. You got so many more plans. I got so many more plans for your life, and you're not listening to me. You're not listening. You're not listening to the things that I'm pushing out to you, that I'm kicking to you, and you're gonna make me have to get to your attention another way. You know, I remember before I went to jail that ultimately sent me to prison, I went to jail for another reason. And I went to prison when I was 18. I went to jail when I was 18 and prison when I was 18. But before that, when I was 17, I remember still being connected to what I'm considering was good people that were also making bad choices. And anytime that happens, you're ultimately going to lead to somewhere where you don't want to be. And so I remember hanging out at the park. I was with the park, and I think we were at where were we at? I was playing basketball, and I was hooping with my cousin D-Man. Shout out to D-Man, man, who also is a Heavy Love supporter. I mean, hats, hoodies, and handshake supporter. And so we were hooping, and I'm 17. I think that I own the world. You know what I mean? I'm full of myself. I'm doing things that are against the law, against what I'm supposed to be doing. And I remember being at the park and having my gun with me and just flashing it. Right. And I remember flashing it just because I thought that's what made me tough. That's what made me cool. That's what made people respect me. And I remember getting ready to leave the park and hopping into my car and thinking that I'm just the biggest and baddest dude that's walking the earth. And I'm leaving, and I still got my gun in my hand, and I got my music up. I'm loud. I'm repping, and I'm flashing my gun in the car. It's just stupid. Right. And I remember looking over to my left as I'm driving down the street and seeing this girl who I went to school with, known for a long time, but didn't think nothing of it. And I got my gun in my hand because I'm thinking I'm that. And I don't remember what day that was, but it was like a weekend or something like that. And so fast forward a couple of days, I'm in school and I go to Choice because I've already been kicked out of Northern. I'm going to Choice. Ain't doing what I'm supposed to do. And it was Choice was like, I don't know if y'all remember the movie Lean on Me, but that's kind of how I remember it being. And so I'm sitting in class and I'm the class clown. I'm popular. I'm him, or at least that's how I feel like it. And I'm sitting in the back of the class and I'm talking to some of the fellas. And these two officers walk in, and I just like, oh, they about to get somebody, you know what I mean? And we just start cracking up and laughing, like, can't wait to see who it is. And the teacher look up and point back in our direction, which made me go a little bit even more crazy because I ain't thinking that they looking or coming for me. And I look up, I'm like, oh, and they come over there and directly look at me like, come with us. And I'm like, oh man. And I instantly heart dropped, was scared because I'm like, what happened? Like, what's going on? And they walked me out to class and they like, you coming to the station with us. We got a report that you pulled a gun on somebody at the park. And I'm like, what the heck? And like my mind started frizzling. Right. And so they get me downtown and they locked me in the cell. And for the first time in my life, I am behind bars. But I'm not really worried about it because I know, first of all, like they ain't got much on me that can keep me. And second, I'm still considered a minor. But at the thought of that, I'm still a minor. I also thought like, oh man, they about to call my mama. And if anybody know my mama, y'all would be worried too. Like y'all would be like, oh, bro, you messing up. And so they end up calling my mom's and, you know, like I thought, she didn't come get me. She like, you make that bed, you lay in it. That was the type of deal. And so I remember end up getting out a few hours later and I don't know who ended up coming to get me and took me home. And me and my mom got into like this kind of argument. I remember leaving out and walking over my auntie's house, my mom's sister. Shout out to my auntie Pookie, always holding me down for sure. And just thinking like at that moment, not even contemplating what that could have been like, but also just thinking like, man, they can't touch me. They can't stop me. Like the law can't do nothing with me. Cause even though I did what they said I did, I ain't doing no time for what it was, even though it was against the law. And that was the absolute worst thought process I could have. Cause what I didn't know that would ultimately lead to me making these next decisions and choices in the coming months that would also ultimately lead me to prison. And so when I talk about everybody else was living and I was about to begin surviving, like that's what I meant. We were in the car today. It's actually my son's birthday. Shout out to Tyler, my youngest, who just turned 6 today. And it was the reason why I didn't drop a handshake this morning, because I wanted to be purposeful and intentional about being in that space with him and my family as we celebrated another year of his life. But we were riding in the car and we were talking about what was we talking about? The past. And we were talking about, my daughter was asking me about prom and stuff like that. And I was like, man, I never went to prom. I never did, I never graduated. I never did these things that everybody else gets the opportunity to do and what our society deems as normal. I didn't get those opportunities because I traded away that for decisions which I thought were cool and which I thought made me more popular. And in the moment they did. But it was a false sense. It was a false, what would I call it? It wasn't real. The people who were like rooting for me and like, oh, he that deal or all those things, it wasn't real. And it reminded me of the Bible when the people said, Hosanna, Hosanna. And then that same very group of people also said, crucify him. And I was living into that hype over the hosannas, not recognizing that those same people wouldn't darken my doorstep when I was locked up. And so while everybody else was living, I was learning how to survive. Everybody else was talking about prom, football games, graduation, senior memories. And me, I was sitting in the jail figuring out or trying to figure out where was my life going from here. And that, as an 18-year-old, is no easy conversation to have with yourself. That's a crazy feeling, man. That is a crazy feeling. Watching your life go in a completely different direction than everybody else's. All of my cousins were experiencing those things. All of my friends, they were experiencing those things. And I was in the unknown, like literally in days and phases of being scared and just not knowing what the next day was going to bring. And I regretted the choices and decisions I made, but I couldn't change them. The only thing I could do was face what those consequences was. And so I was more than willing to not do that, but I ain't had no choice. So there's a group of people out there that know what I mean when I say that. You know, you wanna take back the choices that you made, but ain't no going back. And so you begin to look at it like, how do I face what now I must face? And let me tell you something. Prison ain't just bars and orange jumpsuits like they portray in the movies. Prison is a mental thing that wipes some people out, destroys some people. And if you ain't ready, it could be overwhelming. And I wasn't ready. And it was overwhelming. And I had nothing else to lean on but the little small things that I had learned and retained about God. So prison is where you hear people talk about you like your story is over. Prison is watching other people give up on you. Prison is starting to give up on yourself, if I'm being honest. You know, those same people who shouting, rooting, clapping for me got real quiet and real silent. I didn't know how to process that even. So I started believing the label that was given to me. And if I'm being real, for a while, I started wearing the label that they gave me. The things that they told me that I wouldn't be nothing else. I wouldn't amount to anything else. And prison would be ultimately the deciding factor in who I was. A criminal, a failure, a person who threw their life away. You start hearing something long term, and eventually you start believing that thing that keep ringing in your head and just pinging you like, that's why some people never change. Those thoughts, that process is why some people never change. And when I think about it, how hard that is for me to understand in the process that there's so many great people out there who fell victim to these systems that's been put in place that will never get to materialize how great they are because they believe those thoughts that overtake us. Not because they can't, but because they accept the identity that pain has given them. I wasn't willing to accept that identity. I wanted something different. I needed something different. I know that I was destined for something different. And as hard as it was, I was willing to turn that around and fight for something greater. And somewhere during that 4.5 years, something happened to me. I think I got tired of thinking my story was over before it really started. I didn't really want to accept that narrative that those prison guards were pushing on me, or that the parole board was telling me, or that the system had put into place in the statistics that says if you go to prison, you'll be back. Now, listen, some people hearing this think that me moving on to different things and better things was something easy. But the first step in the process that I was facing now was getting my GED. And I knew that if I ever wanted to do something or accomplish something, that I needed to get that GED. And while I was still in the county, I had the opportunity to get my GED. Now, they told me, like, okay, most people have to go through these classes and have to learn these processes or learn the material. But there is an option if you think you're able to just go and take the test. But not many people who are in your situation and circumstances do that. And I was like, well, let me just try. And I went and took that test and I passed it on the first go. Flying colors, got my GED. And I think that most people think that was an easy process. To me, the GED process was more than just a piece of paper or just getting it. It was a sign of hope. Because if I could get that associated me back to being where I was, back free, back in the world. And I wanted that. And I went and got that on the first try, just based off the stuff that I knew. But it was also a sign in me, told me that there was so much more in me than I was even giving myself credit for. And so that GED meant more than just a piece of paper that they printed it on. Because before the first time in a long time, I wasn't just surviving anymore. I was building. And if you're building, you're moving to a new level and a new level and a new level. So I graduated in chains first before I ever graduated anywhere else. And this hit me the other day. Before I ever walked across a stage, before I ever got a degree, before people started saying that they were proud of me, I graduated in chains. Ain't that crazy? Ain't that crazy to you that before I was able to do these other things that people clap for, that I was graduating from something that people were looking down on me for? My first graduation wasn't in the cap and gown. It was in jail. And somebody listening right now needs to hear this. Just because your beginning looked ugly does not mean your ending has to. My pastor used to always say this. It ain't about where you start. It's about where you finish. And if you finish right, nobody won't even remember the start. I'm going to let that sit there for a second because that still get me knocked away every time I think about it. It ain't about where you started. It's about where you finish. And if you finish right, they won't even remember where you started. And so when people tell me today, like, I can't even believe you ever went to prison, it doesn't fade me anymore because I understand it ain't about where I started at. And where I'm at now ain't where I'm finishing. I got a lot more to go and a lot more to show. Now, let me tell you something else people don't talk about enough. Coming home from prison is hard. Coming home from prison is hard. And I get it. People think that you've been through the hard, you've been through the storm, and now coming home, you should be happy and grateful and excited. And yes, I was all of those things. But I was also petrified and scared and doubtful and shameful. And I just carried fear. And the hardest part was trying to believe that I deserved better than what I had already received, which was being released. Trying to process and believe that I deserve to be coming home. Because all of the things that you're told while you're in there are all a part of the systemic system that keeps us going back to prison. Keeps us believing that we are less than. But I made a decision. I made another decision, a different choice. I decided I wasn't going to let prison be the most important thing about me. when people mention the name Aaron, prison wasn't going to be one of the things that they thought about unless I gave it to them to think about. So I went to college, and me going to college was crazy because I remember talking to my pastor and telling him that I wanted to go into ministry, which is crazy when I think about it. And like, how do I go to school to become a pastor? And he kept blowing me off like, man, listen, just keep moving forward. Keep moving forward. I'm like, how do I do this? And he was like, look, if you want me to take you serious, go to regular school and start going to school that way. And I was like, oh, all right. So he planted something in me that was me being able to make a different choice. And then my cousin Carlisle, shout out to my cousin Carlisle, who doing the BIG, just cop some property in a different country. That's what I'm talking about, boy. But my cousin was just like, man, you need to go to school. And every time I talked to him, it seemed like he was pushing me down. I'm like, bro, chill. Be like, no, you need to go to school. You need to go back to school, go to college. And the thing, I remember him telling me one day, like, you can get a refund check. And I was like, a refund check? Tell me more. He was just like, yeah, you get financial aid. And if it don't cover whatever's left, you be able to do this and do. I was like, okay. And so I jumped on that ASAP, and in the process began to realize that, this could be something more than what I initially thought, what my initial reasoning for getting into college was about. And so I began to learn a lot of things. And then I graduated. Then I graduated again. So 2 degrees in a short amount of period of time that began to open my eyes to what could be in the future. Do y'all understand how crazy that is for somebody sitting in a prison cell every day while everybody else his age was in high school? To see people clap and cheer and celebrate the degrees you are now getting. The same people that didn't have time to write me were now standing up in the audience clapping for me graduating college. Not once, but twice. But they didn't see the discipline that went along with that. They don't see what it takes to sit in the classroom when you once sat in a cage. They don't see the insecurity, or they don't see the fear of not being smart enough, or the feeling that everybody else belongs here more than you do. They didn't see that stuff. But those were things that I was battling with every day, because that's what the prison cells teach you. That you're not good enough, that you're not smart enough, that you'll be back. They didn't see that. And this is what I really came to say today. I want you, if you're listening to me, to stop thinking that you're behind. It is the greatest trick of the enemy to make you think that you're behind somewhere. Some people are working on a different timeline. I love the Marvel comics, and there's so many different timelines for people to be able to decide and what their fates are, because the choices that we make today push us into which timeline we're going to be in. Some people graduate at 18. Some people graduate at 40. Some people find purpose early, and some people have to learn how to survive first. But as long as you're breathing, God ain't done writing. Some people have to literally be broken down to nothing before they can be built back up to who they're supposed to be and lead people out and through. And part of that is like me recognizing and announcing that ain't even the end of my journey of just school. So I'm getting ready to go back to school and learn, discover new things about who I am and where I'm going next. because I believe part of my struggle that I faced all the way up until this point, the last episode and like the time before and the time after, and even now, is all because God is opening up some more doors for me that he's preparing me for it. And it's a challenge. So all of the roughness that I'm feeling and the uneasiness and the unsettlement is because the atmosphere and the environment around me is shaking because there's something new happening in me. And just like there's something new happening in me, there's something new happening in you. And sometimes it feels so uncomfortable that we think that it's wrong and that we think that it's not right. And that's not true at all. That's not true at all. But I heard this, and I'm going to paraphrase this, and I'm probably going to jack this all up. But God has to shake other things and get other things unsettled and uneasy because he's taking you to a new height. And if he's taking you to a new height, some of those things that are in existence right now, they don't fit. And if they don't fit, God has to shake up some of those things, and it makes our ground shake, and it makes it feel like it's us when really it's the things that surround us that are not prepared and ready and destined to go where we're going. And so I am excited about not just yesterday, but what tomorrow is going to hold. Oh man, listen, I am excited. I am excited. Not because I'm trying to prove people wrong anymore. Not because I'm trying to show people that I'm different, but because I finally understand something. Growth is a lifestyle. And if you're not growing, you're dying. Now, don't get me wrong. All of us are dying, right? The moment you are born, you begin to die. You begin to, go into that progression. But if you're not growing, you're expediting that process. And I don't know about you, but that ain't my story. That ain't my story at all. So the hat that I'm wearing today is the hat of the student. And listen, that's not just in school. I'm talking about I am a student of life. Life is shaking, life is baking, and life is changing. If you ain't learning those processes, you're going to be in a tough spot. I never want to become the type of person that thinks that they know everything. Because I don't. I'm learning something even as I'm talking to you. I'm learning something even as I process what God is doing. The hoodie that I'm wearing today, or the covering, is the hoodie of shame. I'm taking off that shame and I'm covering myself with God's grace. Shame from my past, shame from prison, shame from my mistakes. Because shame will have you hide in the very future God is trying to walk you into. I'm going to say that one more time. Shame will have you hide in the very future that God is trying to walk you into. Don't hide from it. Embrace it. And the handshake, the commitment that I'm making. My handshake today is this. I'm committed to growing no matter how uncomfortable it gets. I'm committed to growing no matter how uncomfortable it gets. And I want to challenge you to walk that journey with me. I don't know if you know this, but you are great. You are great, and you are exactly who you need to be in order to make change in your community, in your neighborhood, in your life, in your city, and wherever you are. You are exactly who you need to be. And in the time that God need and wants you to be somebody different, he will elevate you to that. But until then, embrace who you are. Live and love at the place that you are. And that's all I'm trying to do. That's all I'm here for. Like, is to live and embrace who I am. I know that I'm not perfect. I'm far from it. But I also know that I'm not who I used to be. And I'm not making some of those same choices and mistakes that I made in the past. And if I can accomplish that goal, that means tomorrow I have hope to do even greater things than I've done in the past. And that to me is dope. That to me is dope. So as we begin to come to close, I need y'all to do me a favor. All right, I got some goals and I'm reaching, and I'm excited to share some of those things with you in the future of some of the accomplishments that I've had, even in this space right now. But I want you to like, and I want you to share this. I want you to subscribe. I want you to share it, because my goal is I want to be able to give encouragement and hope to people who are in my shoes, or walk my shoes, walk my paths, or maybe headed there, or maybe you got some family that's headed there. Subscribe, like, share this video with somebody that you know needs it, right? Because we only are as strong as the community that we're connected to. Let me connect. Let me be connected to you, and let you be connected to me, that I can grow and learn from you as well. And if nobody told you today, your life is not over. You are not too late. You are not too damaged. You are not disqualified. Man, if a dude who went to prison during high school, who got his GED, in jail, came home, graduated college not once, but twice, and is going back to school again, then maybe your story ain't over yet. Maybe your story is just beginning. And maybe you and who you are about to excel and take off like you could never imagine. And maybe in that story, you are going to change some other people's lives. I am excited about your journey. I want you to share it with me. I want you to jump in the comments and tell me where you are right now. Tell me if you're struggling. Tell me if you need prayer. Tell me if whatever it is. I want you to jump, and I want you to walk this journey with me, and I want to walk it with you. All right. This is Hats, Hoodies, and Handshakes, where we are expected to elevate, expected to grow, and expected to take people with us. Your story might just be the next story that changes our world. This has been Hats, Hoodies, and Handshakes. And remember this: the hat is the role you wear. The hoodie is the thing that we're hiding behind or covering up. And the handshake is the commitments we're making. Let's go and be great. And if you don't remember nothing else from this episode, remember this: the choices we made yesterday made us who we are today. But the decisions we make today prepare us for who we'll be tomorrow. And at any given time in your life, you can change who your tomorrow person is. Believe that, achieve that, and let's build. Peace.
Transformation. Hats, hoodies.